verloren is om podium te halen. Hè. Early is ver van ons weggereden. In het puntenaantal, dat zal moeilijk worden, maar die plek 2 zou ik toch zo graag mogelijk nog behalen.
It will be you against Iserbit?
Yeah, probably that's possible, but I also think at Michael van Turnhout. Yesterday at the end of the race he was also riding with good legs, I think. So today he also finds a track which suits him well. So Michael van Turnhout, Eli Iserbit and the guys, the younger guys probably, who didn't participate yesterday, they spare some powers for today. Maybe they also gonna be on top today.
Michael, ik zie hier veel renners blazend en met hun handen slaan van de kou. En jij komt hier gewoon met een glimlach naar ons gereden.
Ja, het is wel een tof rondje. Iets nieuws. En dat is altijd wel plezant om iets nieuws te hebben. En toch een keer ook een andere ondergrond wel.
Intrinsiek is het wel iets voor jou, deze omloop, denk ik dan?
Ja, toch wel. Ik heb nu net een rondje gedaan en het lijkt mij echt wel... dat moet me echt wel liggen. Natuurlijk met de ziekte van vorige week... Gisteren viel wel mee, maar het was nog niet super. Maar ja, een andere dag, een beter gevoel misschien.
Michael van Turnhout, back at the World Cup. Didn't ride last time out, remember. And the rider's been called forward onto the grid. Michael van Turnhout missing out last time, had a cold, now he looks like he's recovered. Ellie is a bit there in the white and red jersey as the leader of the World Cup. Turnhout's just taking a gel on for the last time before we get this race underway. There are a few riders missing from this race today. In particular, no Lars van der Haar, no Quinten Hermans. Magli Rochette still chatting away after her race earlier on. The front row of the grid today, getting ready. This is the second row. Niels van der Putzer, Kevin Kuhn, Joshua Dubois, Pim Ronhaar, Michael Boros, Marcel Meason, Mies Hendricks and Emil Verstringer. That's the second row. There are 7 rows in total. Good atmosphere here in Besançon, ready for round number 8. Down close to the Jura Mountains. Home, of course, to a very famous rider and manager, Jean de Gribaldi, who discovered Sean Kelly. And if you ever wander the streets of Besançon, you can go and walk along the Monte de Jean de Gribaldi. That street was named after him in 1994. He was a great rider. He was the manager of course, the Skill and CAS teams, of which Sean Kelly was such a major influence during his career. So a town with a rich history of cycling. Also the home of Victor Hugo.
Last week he finished second in the World Cup race in Koksijde in Belgium.
We're out down on the banks of the River Doub. Population in Besançon, 116,775 people. And we're not too far from Switzerland.
We continue with another rider coming from Belgium.
The riders then forming up the front row of the grid. This race is about 8 minutes now from the race start. Lawrence Week, great race last time out. There he is, second in Koksijde.
On his way towards the start race. And then we continue with a guy who finished second in the World Cup race in Waterloo. He was second in Overijse. He was third in Fayetteville.
So the front row of the grid today, Elisabeth, Tonerts, Michael van Turnhout, Corne van Kessel, Toon van der Bosch, Laurens Sweeck, Vincent Bastiens and Ryan Camp. That's the front row of the grid today of the 50 riders who will take to the race start. Michael van Turnhout makes his way forward now. On the front row of the grid then, we have got 5 Paalsousen riders. Here's Corne van Kessel. His teammate Quinten Herman's not here. Yesterday, Corne van Kessel had a really good ride in Kortrijk. He finished on the podium for the first time this season, so he's right on form. Tonerts, he's ready, and here comes Elisabeth making his way onto the grids. As we heard in the interviews, there's always a question over Elisabeth when it's very cold. He really has struggled in the cold in the past. Remember those photos or those shots of him as an under-23 rider being carried over the barriers because he'd got hypothermia on a race. I think it was, from memory, in Namur a couple of years ago. So let's hope that Elisabeth has got plenty of clothes on, wrapped up ready for today's race. Ryan Camp, under-23 world champion in 2020. Laurens Sweeck, second in Koksijde. Alongside him, Corne van Kessel. He'll feel motivated after yesterday. He said he was happy with his podium finish. Trying to keep warm, Michael van Turnhout. Tonerts looking confident. Won yesterday. Then a 5-hour trip here to get ready for Besançon. Elisabeth, the World Cup leader. If things go to plan on the normal pattern of racing over the last few rounds of racing, Elisabeth wouldn't win today. He's won all the odd rounds of racing. And Toon van der Bosch next in the colours of Paalsousen. Then the final member of the front row of the grid, Vincent Bastiens, who is always at the moment in the mix in these races. We haven't seen Vincent Bastiens get in the top 6 yet in that blue and yellow kit, but let's see if he can do it today. 1 minute to go then till the race starts. Everyone just getting focused for what is always such a hard start after you've warmed up, cooled down a little bit, got yourself on the front row of the grid, then it's a momentous effort off that start line.
Less than 1 minute before the start of this World Cup race today over here in Besançon. Nous sommes à 30 secondes du départ.
30 seconds until we get underway. The red lights are on. The riders are ready. And we're about to pull back the tape. The tape is pulled back, the riders are focused, we're on red, and we wait for green. Fast start now. Real power off the start by Tonerts. Look at the speed of Tonerts there in the middle. Total focus by him. And is he going to be first into this turn? It looks like there's a fight between him and Ryan Camp for that inside line, and it's Ryan Camp who takes the lead. So Ryan Camp leads in the red and black, and moving up, Corne van Kessel in the neon yellow, just behind him Tonerts. Just behind Michael van Turnhout in the red with the black helmet, just behind him Laurens Sweeck. Everyone just trying to get round that corner. So the leader is Ryan Camp. Picking our way back through the field a little bit. There's the Italian champion making his way. Early Bertolini in the red, white and green. Heinrich Hausler in the colours of Bahrain victorious. He's had a good start. Heinrich today moving his way up the grid. He's now on the 5th row of the grid in the World Cups. Takes a little bit of time until you're able to get up a little bit further and get into the good positions off that race start. Oh, a little bit of a broadside. And one rider going underneath. Swiss champion hits the deck. That's Kevin Kuhn. Not a good start for him. Once you get the line wrong on that particular section, then everything goes wrong. Corne van Kessel trying to take the lead here for the Tourmans team. Because we don't have Lars van der Haar and we don't have Quinten Hermans. Also Wout van Aert, Tom Pidcock, Mathieu van der Poel haven't started yet. It gives everybody a little bit more of an opportunity. Ellie is a bit moving up on the grass, right-hand side in that white and red jersey. Just settling himself in. Goes shoulder to shoulder with Vincent Bastiens. Is a bit, moves up on the left and tries to take the inside line. Switches into 4th place. A good little switch there by Isabit. And it's still our leader, Ryan Camp, as we go on to the run-up. Corne van Kessel trying to take position now. Tonet's going with them. Ed said yesterday that he suffered a lot in Koksijde, but he still took the victory. Everyone just trying to stay in the line. So Tonet's won in Koksijde yesterday. Isabit was 2nd. Corne van Kessel was 3rd. Vincent Bastiens was 4th. And then Michael van Turnhout in 5th place. As Tonet's makes his move up on the outside. Tonhout saying yesterday, I suffered a great deal, but I knew after lap 1 that I had good legs and I was able to just go out and hurt myself. Tonet's then with the front line. Behind him is the 2nd placed rider who initially had the lead. That's Ryan Camp. Corne van Kessel in 3rd. Is a bit trying to move up. There he is. This is this tricky section where you need to stay as high as you possibly can. Emil Vestringer also in the line there for Tourmans. Felipe Ort's trying to move up into a good position. Niels van der Putter's also up towards the front, but Tonet is doing what Lucinda Brand was doing in the first race, and that's just trying to open up the advantage. And he's already opening up a fairly substantial lead on the 2nd place rider. And is a bit further behind. And that camera shortens just how far that distance actually is. Tonet's just trying to tick his lines, working out which position is best. There's the Spanish champion. This is a very good ride by Felipe Orts of Spain. Tonet's, a little bit of daylight. Maybe 4 seconds between him and the 2nd place rider. He's a bit trying to pedal his way across. Tonet's, when I was watching him do the recce earlier on, he spent a lot of time looking at particular sections of this course, particularly the pits area. Just trying to work out, if you take a bike, what position you want to take it in. And him and the mechanics were just discussing best to go far left-hand side of the pit. Let's see what he decides to do and see if the legs have recovered from yesterday. He's a bit trying to power his way across, out the saddle. Tonets into the pits. Let's see what he decides to do. Takes the bike and then easily out. So he's gone a long way down the pits. He was discussing that line a long time, about 2 hours ago. Comes out in a nice position, just in front of Ryan Camp. In fact, just in front of Toon van den Bosch, sorry. And look at the line that Tonets and Isabit took there. They race in to get the best position, and Tonets just trying to dominate this part of the race. Just coming up to 7 minutes of racing. Well, we know that Tonets finds traction where some riders never do. Last week in Koksijde, he was finding little lines and bits of traction that were bringing him back up to the front. Very impressive the way he rode last week. But ultimately, it was Elizabeth who took the win. Tonets has had a win so far in Zonhoven, but he knows if he wants to try and win this World Cup, which he has won in his career before. He won the World Cup in the 2018-2019 season. He also won it in the 2020 season as well. So if he wants to close the gap on Isabit, he's just got to keep pushing on, plugging away, trying to put himself in the best possible position he can and hope that Isabit has a couple of bad races. The riders in Group 2 not giving in. Corne van Kessel, having had a good start, is starting to drift away a little bit. Maybe the legs hurt him from yesterday. As we come up to complete lap number 1. Tonets leads. Behind him is a bit. Then it's Toon van den Bosch in 4th place at 6 seconds, Ryan Camp. Then the group led by Besançon Bastions, which contains Van Turnhout and Ronhaar. Well, we'll see how long this race is going to be. Probably about 7 laps in total. That was an 8:19 lap, and it's a shorter little section that. The lap distance is 3.35 kilometres, but the start loop is 3.1. Here's a bit jumping the hurdles. Toon van den Bosch comes across as well. Then Ryan Camp trying to get on terms. Michael van Turnhout. There is Lawrence Sweek. Tonets not managing to open up the gap that he might have liked. Ellie is a bit still riding fast into that corner. Loses a little bit of traction. Well, there's a lot of talk at the moment about who's riding which rounds of cross. Mathieu van der Poel has said this week that he will start his season on December the 18th in Rucphen. He'll then ride Namur, the traditional cross, on the 19th. Then he'll ride Dendermonde, which is between Christmas and New Year. And then he'll ride Hulst, and he'll finish off with Hoogerheide. So Mathieu van der Poel announcing that it's going to be a couple more weeks until we see him race. Then he'll be firmly back in the mix. Tom Pidcock is starting next weekend. So is Wout van Aert. They're starting a little bit earlier. Pidcock is riding 13 crosses in a jam-packed season. As Tonets opens up the gap. Well, a lot of chat in the Belgian press this week about the return of Wout van Aert, Pidcock and Mathieu van der Poel as Isabit closes up on Tonets now. National coach Sven van Turnhout has said that Tom Pidcock could well be the man of the coming weeks. But Wout van Aert was in Koksijde last weekend, and he was also in Kortrijk yesterday with some of his personal sponsors. And he said that the level, he thinks, of Elizabeth, Toenaerts and everyone else is very, very high. So he said, look, you can't say immediately that me, Mathieu and Tom Pidcock will immediately be in the prizes. But everyone is looking forward to the return of those riders. Pim Ronhaar wearing number 4. He's there in the blue colours, same as Toenaerts, as Toenaerts makes his way onto the stairs, being pursued by Elizabeth, who sprints his way up the steps that time. Van Turnhout also said yesterday, we have to respect also the riders here who've been riding every round of the World Cup, because you feel that things are starting to come to life now with the season and with Mathieu getting ready, Wout van Aert being there, Pidcock joining. But he was also saying that those 3 riders will take a few crosses to get themselves into the rhythm. Van Turnhout says that Tom Pidcock, he thinks, will be the man of the coming weeks. Elizabeth comes back and takes a great line there. Made his way onto this tricky section and outmaneuvers Toenaerts. Elizabeth trying to find a little bit of traction for the tyres into that fast left-hander, as Pim Ronhaar goes clear now of Toon van den Bosch. Current standings then: Toenaerts, Elizabeth, Pim Ronhaar, Toon van den Bosch, Laurens Sweeck and Vincent Bastians. Felipe Orts, the Spanish rider, in 10th place. Toenaerts has taken back the lead now from Elizabeth. Wout van Aert said yesterday, it all seems very easy when you're sitting on your sofa, but it might be a good wake-up call when you actually come to a cross and realise just how fast everyone is going. He's been watching quite a lot of the cross so far. He says he's watched a lot. There's been a good battle, often until the end, and he's curious as to how he's going to fit in. But he thinks that Elizabeth's level has gone up seriously and that he's very, very impressive. Wout van Aert saying that when he comes back, he thinks he will definitely miss a little bit of rhythm at the beginning. But his intention is to be really strong when it gets to the Christmas period. Here's our 2 leaders. Thanks for watching. This is round 8 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. We're in Besançon in France. And Toenaerts there in the blue and red. That's his teammate, Pim Ronhaar, riding for the Baloise Trek Lions. Look at the way you have to dismount. Toenaerts trying to put Elizabeth under pressure again. Coming up towards the pits area, Toenaerts gets ready to hand the bike. There's the mechanic already running for the water jets, the jet washers, just trying to get the bike as clean as quickly as possible. See the mechanic, almost as soon as he's grabbed it, is running for the jet wash. Pim Ronhaar working his way through, having a good performance today. Pim Ronhaar's finished in the top 6 so far in the World Cups this season. He finished 5th in Fayetteville. Since then, we've not seen him on the podium. So today, or in the top 6, today could be a good day for Pim Ronhaar if he continues this way. Strange not seeing a World Cup cyclocross with Lars van der Haar and Quinten Hermans towards the front, isn't it? But it's a good tussle between these two. The crowd enjoying today's race here in Besançon. Certainly creating a wonderful atmosphere so far. Up this tricky little ramp. Is a bit just having to work hard to stay on the wheel of Toon Aerts. Tyne Sells, interesting question. You've got regular racers like Toon Aerts, Ellie Isabit, and then you've got the big names deciding when and where they can ride. It must be a bit strange, and I'm sure if you're the likes of Isabit or Toon Aerts, you do wonder when Wout van Aert, Tom Pidcock and Mathieu van der Poel arrive and say, hang on a moment, I've been racing every single week. And suddenly the attention is a little bit taken off them, but it shouldn't be, because these are the stars of the World Cup circuit. A 9:03 lap that time. That gives us the barometer with which we can compare all the other laps now, because the second lap is the proper race distance of 3.35 kilometers. So the race positions then, third place Pim Ronhaar at 24 seconds, then it's Laurens Sweeck at 27, Toon van den Bosch in 5th place now at 29, making his way across the line then, Dubois, then Corny van Kessel, Ryan Kamp, Michael van Turdenhout. Toon Aerts not happy with that photographer, who was totally in the way as they bumped over those hurdles. Was not impressed with that at all. Let's just take another look. There's Toon Aerts. Where's the photographer? There he is, had to get out of the way. Toon Aerts not happy with him at all. This is our chasing group, who are going for third place at the moment. It's going shoulder to shoulder, these two riders, aren't they, today? Toon Aerts, the 28-year-old rider. That's his teammate trying to chase another podium position for the Baloise Trek Lions today. Seems like Toon Aerts has been around forever, doesn't it? But he's only 28 when you look at him. 3 times a bronze medalist in the World Championships. Surely deserves, at some point, those rainbow bands. He's been such a brilliant bike rider in the cyclocross circuit. First time we really started to see him was in the Super Prestige races around about 2012. He's ridden a little bit on the roads, was 9th in the Tour of Belgium this season. And he also, if you go back a little bit, he finished 2nd in the Flèche de Sud in 2019 and won the mountains classification. So another rider who could turn his attention to the road and do just as well. But these riders, they make their living riding the cyclocross circuit. That's what they really love to do. They're just as versatile as the stars that we're about to see come in, but they've decided that their focus is to go and ride cyclocross. So we need these stars in the cyclocross circuit. Over the last few weeks then, Isabit won in Koksijde. The time before that was Lars van der Haar in Tabor. He took a great win then for the Baloise Trek Lions. Isabit won in Overijse. Tonerts won for the Baloise Trek Lions in Zonhoven. Isabit won in Iowa. Quinten Hermans won in Fayetteville. And Isabit won in Waterloo. So far, the racing has been dominated by two different teams, really, when you look at it. Isabit riding for the Paushausen team. It's the team in red and black. And Tonerts riding for the Baloise Trek Lions, the team of the great Sven Nys. And they've got so much backing from Trek, who absolutely love their cyclocross team. We're going to have 6 laps by the looks of things. That looks like it'll be about right. And again, they're just not letting each other take that front line that's all important. Thanks for your messages. If you'd like to get in touch, @AntMcCrossan is where you can get hold of me on social media. And don't forget, follow at UCI_cycling for all the cycling news during the season. Laurens Sweeck not quite getting the momentum that he wanted into that section of the course. Quinten Hermans, Corny van Kessel is starting to find his way through the fields. Felipe Orts now down in 12th place, the Spanish rider. Let's pick out some of the riders for you then, as we watch our two leaders powering away. So the first Spanish rider, Felipe Orts, in 12th place at the moment. Marcel Meason, the German champion, down in 22nd. Steve Chanel is back in 25th place today for France. Kevin Kuhn is in 28th after his fall earlier on. Heinrich Hausler down in 44th place now. And there's currently still 50 riders racing, so no one has dropped out of the race yet. This is a big group of riders here, riding almost as a little mini peloton on this course. Here's Marcel Meason, the German champion. I saw him fall earlier in the recce. Absolutely covered in mud he was. And that was on that tricky section where if you take the left-hand line on that slight adverse camber downhill, then you just glide in towards the poles and the barrier at the side. Whoops, a little bit of a slip there for Isabit, but he tried to remount. Didn't manage to do it. Had a little bit of a slide, and Tonerts manages to get back in the lead. Let's just take another look here. So Isabit comes into the pits. Oops, and falls. Just a little bit of a bump as he took the bike, maybe just a little bit quick, and the front wheel caught a bump. 25 minutes of racing gone, and still we don't know who's going to win this race. Isabit just being left a little. And a problem here, and a shoe change for Laurens Sweeck. Toneed's foot comes out of the pedal that time. Manages to get them back in before he goes on to this next section. He's a bit managing to take the left-hand line, but doesn't manage to get back in front of Toneed's that time. Those of you watching cyclocross for the first time, the riders are allowed to use up to 33mm tyres. I know on gravel bikes you can get some hugely wide tyres now to give you even more traction. The riders are allowed 33mm. That's their maximum, and you'll see a little gauge is checked at the race start before the riders get underway, as we see the leading duo come around to complete another lap. 26 minutes have gone. That was a 9:18 lap, 15 seconds slower than the lap before. These two riders now have about 39 seconds. Coming up now, we'll see what it is on the line, and it's 36 seconds to Pim Ronhaar. This would be a wonderful result, though, for Pim Ronhaar if he could finish on the podium in a World Cup. Crossing the line then, Michael van Turnhout, who is 7 seconds behind Pim Ronhaar. Behind him is Tom van den Bosch, as Toneed just tries to up the tempo a little. Accelerates himself onto the grass. Just looking for any little slight glimmer of a weakness in Elizabeth's armour today. It's going to be interesting to see how these two riders work out how things are going to play out before the end of the race. Could imagine Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert, Tom Pidcock watching this right now, just thinking, okay, have we done enough? Are we ready for an assault on the victories in the next rounds of the World Cup? And the tussles that are going to come with Toneed and Elizabeth in particular. Elizabeth, twice the under-23 world champion. Michael van Turnhout, he won the world title in 2015. He succeeded Wout van Aert as under-23 world champion. Toneed, twice the winner of the World Cup. The last time he took the victory was 2020, ahead of Elizabeth and Michael van Turnhout. Last year, of course, it was Wout van Aert who took the 5 rounds of the World Cup, or the 5-round World Cup victory. Mathieu van der Poel was second, Michael van Turnhout was in 3rd place. Let's just pick out some of the other nationalities for you. I know many of you like to keep an eye as Elizabeth just gets rid of the glasses. Felipe Orts now in 11th place for Spain, riding for the Burgos BH team. Loris Roulier of Switzerland is in 17th place. Michael Boros is in 20th for the Czech Republic. Marcel Meason is in 19th place, riding as the German champion. Kevin Kuhn of Switzerland in 26th place. And right towards the end of the field, must just give him a mention, from Chile, Sebastian Roman. He's in 50th place, 7 minutes down, but in the World Cup for Chile. Heinrich Hausler, 44th right now, at 4 minutes and 1 second. In the background then, Daniel Monjas' voice, keeping the crowd going as the riders make their way round, close to completing another lap. We're going to have 6 laps of racing in this men's elite race. This is lap number 3. We're going to reach the midway point coming up. In fact, it will be, we'll see how that lap counter works today. So we've done 3 laps already, haven't we? An 8:19 lap, well, we've done the opening loop of 3.1 kilometers, a 9:03 lap and a 9:19 lap for Toenaerts. Toenaerts just tries to stretch the pace a little. Little dive downhill. The rider's choosing to have pretty low pressure today, looking for any bit of traction they can possibly get. So when the riders make their way onto the road, onto the pavement sections, the tyre will feel like it is totally flat. Tyre pressure is so important in cyclocross. Just to try and give the riders that little bit of grip that they need. Tyres so critical. Tyre selections that you have, very, very important. This is the race for 5th place between Corny van Kessel in the neon yellow and Van den Bosch. Elizabeth takes the right-hand line here and sneaks through in front of Toenaerts. There are still 50 riders racing. No one has been lapped yet. Here's a bit on this section. As you can see, the riders leave the foot in the pedal as long as they possibly can, just letting the bike glide downhill, and then just clip the foot out when they get to the bottom of the descent. Get themselves back on the bike as quick as possible once they're round that turn and they get themselves going again. Corny van Kessel there in the neon yellow, trying to stay on the wheel. Ryan Camp. There's Tom Meason. He's not going too badly at all. We can just about pick the riders out through the mud that's been splattered all over them now. But Felipe Ort's looking at one of his best places in a World Cup. Now moving himself into 8th place for Spain. We're seeing the emergence today of other riders. Great to get to know some of these riders who are animating the action today. Isabit takes a move. Very fast little attack into that section. Isabit kicks up again. So just to make sure you all know, there'll be kind of 7 loops in total, but that first opening loop doesn't count on the lap board, so we'll have 6 full laps of racing plus the opening loop. That's why you're seeing lap 3 of 6, which I have to say is a little bit confusing, but there we go. We'll just keep an eye on it all the way through. Toenaerts making hard work of that little section and is a bit taking advantage. Just saw that little glance over his right shoulder, realising that Toenaerts had lost a few metres, and Isabit will try and capitalise on any little mistake. Big move on the right-hand side. Toenaerts loses a couple of seconds. It's a bit glanced around again, realises that Tonets is making his way back in. But with those little surges, he's just hurting the legs. Coming round then to complete the lap. Tonets and Elizabeth finish the next lap. 3 laps of racing to go. Now the laps are getting slower and slower. That was a 9:27 lap that time. The fastest lap is a 9:03, which is 22.2 kilometers an hour. So far we've gone that 8:19 opening loop, then 9:03, 9:18, 9:27. Still, we don't see any bit of weakness between these riders. Little mistakes here or there, but that's about it. This is our search for third place. Michael van Turnhout and Pim Ronhaar cross the line, and they are 47 seconds behind. Niels van der Putte going through the camera shot there. There's the Spanish rider Felipe Orts. Here's the chase with Michael van Turnhout, Corny van Kessel and Toon van den Bosch. Ryan Camp also in there, then Niels van der Putte. This is Felipe Orts as we go back now to see Tonets stretching the pace a little. Tonets, the lumps of mud flying off that back wheel as he kicks a little bit more power into those pedals. Here's a bit goes to the left-hand side of the course, looking for a little bit of traction. And now on to these steps. Fast up that section. Here's a bit has to sprint over the top. So who do you think's going to win? It's been an enticing competition so far between these 2 great riders at the front. Each of these riders just trying to find that little section where they can take advantage. Michael van Turnhout, great to see him back and racing. Great to see him having recovered from being sick last time out. So far this season, things have been up and down for him. Waterloo he finished 2nd, Fayetteville he was 3rd, 3rd in Iowa, then he dropped down to 5th in Zonhoven. Overijse he was back on form in 2nd place. 5th in Tabor and a missed Koksijde last time out. Tonets took a glance around that time just to see where Isabit was. And as he went through that next corner, pushed on a little bit more. It's not too windy at all here, but it's cold. As Isabit said at the start, it feels like it's about -5. Onto the stairs for the next time. Tonet's just having to stamp almost, trying to get those pedals turned over. Into the pits for Pim Ronhaar. Michael van Turnhout with him as well. Gleaming white bike for Pim Ronhaar that time. Lawrence Sweek in to take a new bike. Jumps onto that black Ridley machine. Corny van Kessel jumps onto his cube bike. Elizabeth takes the line again. Both these riders taking totally different lines into this section. And Tonert's desperate to get in front. See the way that the momentum is going forward with these two riders as Michael van Turnhout works out how can he finish on the podium here. Pim Ronhaar, though, he will be searching for a famous podium for him. A really appreciative crowd around this Besançon course. Tonert tests again. He's a bit having to sprint. ...41 minutes, 42 minutes coming up, and neither of these riders are broken yet. Pim Ronhaar, the 20-year-old rider from the Netherlands, in that blue and red kit at the front, in that second group of riders. There's Ronhaar on the front, the junior European champion, second in the Junior World Cup, and then won the under-23 championship. So many good young cyclocross riders, aren't there? Ronhaar also rides mountain bike as well. He was national under-23 cross-country champion in 2020. Today's one of those races for tough riders, but technically good riders as well. You've got to keep yourself on the pedals all day today. In the pits, here comes Ertz and Isabit. Bike change for both. Simultaneous remounts of the machines. Ronhaar just trying to get that inside line. Van Turnhout also wanted it. Didn't manage to get there as Tonert tests out Isabit again. And Isabit goes flying into that section, doesn't he? Look at the way that he managed to find a little bit of power. Ertz is now really making a move. Bit of a test here by Tonert to see if he can get rid of Isabit. Tonert has the momentum. And Isabit sprints back onto the wheel, almost touches the back wheel of Tonert in front of him. This is one of those enthralling contests. You can't take your eyes off it to work out who's going to win, and Isabit almost hits the back wheel of Tonert again. A little bit of move now down towards this tough uphill section. Isabit, look at that, pushing all the time, telling Tonert, don't think you've got rid of me, I'm still here. Ertz looks around again, a few meters grows, Isabit comes back. And they go shoulder to shoulder again. 45 minutes of racing, dominated by these two. Ronhaar drops onto the wheel of Michael van Turnhout. This is our chase for third place. Ronhaar just being left a little here as we come round. Tonert crosses the line, 2 laps of racing to go. Superb racing. That was a 9:18 lap that time. So we've gone 9:03, 9:18, 9:27, 9:18. Only 2 laps of racing remain. Our top 10 right now. Toon Aerts, Elisabeth, Pim Ronhaar, Michael van Turnhout, Toon van der Bosch, Ryan Kamp, Corny van Kessel, Tom Meason in the top 10 today. Niels van der Putte and Lawrence Sweek. Great to see Tom Meason in the top 10, who says that Lars van der Haar is his motivation now after his win in Tabor a couple of weeks ago. This is the fight for the podium. Nearly a minute behind. Tom Meason could be looking at his best performance in a World Cup for a long time. There he is. He's working his way towards the top 6. I think you have to go back a lot of seasons to find Tom Meason in the top 6 in a World Cup. The shouts of Ellie as they go around this course. The next chasing group containing the Spanish rider Felipe Orts, Toon Aerts manages to grow the advantage by a few meters through that section. Elisabeth needs to fight. Toon Aerts stretching the pace now, is a bit sprinting hard to try and come back. And he is closing the gap again, so that despite this little attack, it looks like Elisabeth will come back. Toon Aerts, though, refusing to give in. Still a couple of meters between them. This is a concerted attack here by Toon Aerts. Next time round will be 1 lap to go. Onto the steps. And Elisabeth showing some signs of struggling a little here. He can't quite close the gap on Toon Aerts. Elisabeth can't do it right now. He needs to accelerate because Toon Aerts is putting in a concerted effort now to win this round of the World Cup. The gap is 30, 40 meters now. And Toon Aerts round that turn has kept the pressure on despite Elisabeth almost closing it. And he's growing this lead little by little. Pedal stroke by pedal stroke. This is our race for 3rd place. Ronhaar and Van Turen out. But Toon Aerts has some daylight and he puts on the pressure massively now. Able to pick this section if he can get this one right. But Elisabeth's coming back. Elisabeth refusing to give in. He takes the faster line. Close to that pole on the left-hand side. And Elisabeth, a little bit of a skid around that corner. He's just dragging himself slowly back to the wheel of Toon Aerts. What an intriguing race this is. And Elisabeth not quite there, but almost there. He must be right up at the red zone now. Sprinting again. Tonerz trying to get rid of him. Look at that. The head of Elizabeth going everywhere. Every single sinew of muscle right now is screaming as he tries to go across. He's putting every bit of power he can through this bike. 51 minutes of racing gone. This is going to be a long race today. And still there's a few meters between them. Oh, and Pim Ronard does not want Michael Van Turenhout to have that line. Whoa, and a problem here for Tonerz. He slips and he slides. And Isabit almost ran over his leg. And Isabit now has the momentum. There was nothing that Tonerz could do. While he was wallowing in the mud, Isabit was closing the gap. Isabit looks around. Let's take another look. Look at this. He gets it totally wrong. Takes a lie down, and he does. He rides over his foot. There's nothing that Isabit could do. As he said last time out, in Formula One, you'd call it a racing incident. Into the pits. And Isabit again having a problem grabbing that bike. The front of the bike going all over the place. Tonerz needs to keep this going. He just got that line wrong into that slidey corner. Isabit really gets the sense now that he needs to put Tonerz to the sword. Well, it's turned back in favour of Elizabeth now. Two Belgian powerhouses at the front of this race in Besançon. Let us know, who do you think's going to win? Will Tonerz get back? Well, will Elizabeth take the win today? Tonerz having a problem there with his shoes, I think. He's just leaning down there to check them, and Isabit still has a few meters. Isabit looks around. Tonerz drags the bike over the top of that climb, trying to bring this back together. And he has got a problem with that shoe. And I don't know if that was the foot that Isabit rode over. Because if it is, he could have broken the buckle on the shoe or something on that little boa fixer. Isabit with the advantage. Just a few seconds now. It's 5 seconds. It was 8. Tonerz clearly has the form and the legs to win this. But sometimes if you're just pushing that little bit hard, it can come unstuck. Coming round then, 1 lap of racing to go to decide the winner in Besançon. The gap is 4 seconds. A 9:01 lap that time, the fastest lap of the race. Elizabeth, 22.28 kilometers an hour. And he's still got the gap. Elizabeth, if he wins this, will change the pattern of the last few races of the season. So far, he's won 4 rounds of the World Cup. This one will make it a handful as he pulls it over the hurdles with supreme skill. Tonerz refusing to give in. Ertz has 1 win in Zonhoven. Isabit has 4 wins so far. For a while, it looked like he was firmly on the ropes. But that little error by Toon Aerts has let Ellie a bit back in. Still a few meters between them. As it was last time when Isabit was in second place. He just couldn't close the gap. The same is happening with Toon Aerts here, as Isabit skids it round that left-hand turn. Still a few meters. Can they come back together? Onto the steps, where Isabit is so good. We turn our attention back to the line. Third place is Ronald. Fourth is Van Turenhout. Fifth place will be Corny van Kessel. Sixth place, just behind him from the Paushausen team, is Tom van den Bosch. Isabit goes flying down this section. Little glance over the left shoulder. Just trying to work out, is he there? Is he not? Oh, and another little skid by Toon Aerts as he tried to get some momentum off that pole. The speed of Isabit as he puts in a little bit more pressure. Here's another replay. And Toon Aerts is right on the limit, you can tell. Just these little errors are sneaking in now to his race. What a wonderful competition between these two fantastic cyclocross riders. Isabit rides that section superbly. Takes the left-hand turn. Heads up now towards the next technical section. Still the advantage is around about 2.1 seconds. We're on the last lap of the 8th round of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. Onto the stairs, and Isabit sprints up them as though it's Christmas morning and his presents are upstairs. Isabit pushes on now. Another few meters. These two riders on the absolute limit. Isabit grows it another meter maybe along that section. Toon Aerts hoping that Isabit makes a little error. Isabit is so good this season. Isabit this year has not been off the podium in any round of the World Cup. So consistently good. But Toon Aerts is almost there. He's got to not make a mistake along this section, but unfortunately, he just doesn't get the bike going. Isabit round this bit is so good. Let's just take another look here. Toon Aerts, as he got onto that section, he just lost a little bit of traction from the back wheel. Isabit now seems to have the meters that he needs on this final lap. But he's refusing to give in. They're not called the Baloise Trek Lions for nothing, are they? This is such a powerful ride by Toon Aerts. Isabit goes sprinting, full power up this hilly section now, leaving nothing in the tank. Toon Aerts closing in 1 hour of flat-out bike racing here in Besançon. What a great course this has been today for cyclocross. In third place, Pim Ronha trying to search for another place for the Baloise Trek Lions on that podium. The gap is 5 seconds. Isabit just calms the breathing down a little. Trying to hold the bike into this section, slips and slides, but manages to hold it. The gap is still 5. Tonets is going to reflect on that little slide when he was in the lead. Isabit kicks it around that section, looks good. There's the distance between our first and second place. Now, what happens when you add in the mix? Wout van Aert, Tom Pidcock and Mathieu van der Poel. We're going to have some wonderful racing, aren't we? The racing has been inspired so far. And we add those three in the mix and anything can happen. Pim Ronhaar stretching the pace on that gleaming white bike. Michael van Turnhout trying to close the gap. Isabit rages into this little hill. Safely over the top of it. All he needed was that little bit of motivation. Tonets visibly slower now. Isabit kicks on over the top of this next section. Then it's a left-hand turn, caked in mud. You can't really see the colours of the World Cup leader. But by the end of today, Isabit is going to be, without doubt, firmly in the lead. And you wonder whether it's an unassailable lead if he just carries on the way he's doing and keeping positions, keeping points going. Whoa! Isabit goes sliding down the hill. Where is Tonets? He's trying to rescue it. He needs some rope and crampons. He looks around. Somehow, he's still in the lead. Isabit still has the lead. Where is Tonets? He can see Isabit just in front of him. But Tonets looks to me like he is right on the limit, if not over it. Eli Isabit looks around. Somehow he got away with it. Isabit glancing around anxiously. But Tonets is just in all sorts of pain. Besançon, the final lap was incredible. It's Eli Isabit who takes the win. What a victory by Eli Isabit, his 5th win of the season, and a finished Tonets in 2nd place. What a race that was. When Tonets sees that final lap with Isabit trying to climb his way up the hill, look at this. Suddenly, everything was going wrong. He was trying to find any bit of footing, finding any way of getting out of it, dragging that bike up to the top of the hill. Eli Isabit wins in Besançon. 2nd place is Tonets. And now we wait for 3rd place. It looks like it's going to be a 3rd place for Pim Ronhaar. This will be a wonderful moment for Pim Ronhaar. Sprints. Tries to get himself over the top of this little section now. Pim Ronhaar searching for a famous podium finish here. He shakes his head, he gets rid of Michael van Turnhout. Pim Ronhaar is going to take a podium finish in a World Cup. And he's urged on by Tonets. He's happy with that. It's his 1st World Cup podium as an elite rider. Pim Ronald takes third. Michael van Turnhout takes fourth place. 1 hour and 3 minutes of racing. Here's the fight for the next places. Fifth place. It's Corny van Kessel who's going to make it round the corner. Behind him is Niels van der Putte. Corny van Kessel finishes fifth. Sixth place, Niels van der Putte. Seventh place is going to be Tom Meason. He punches the air. Eighth place is going to be Tom van den Bosch. Ninth place, coming in now, Marcel Meason. 10th place, Laurens Sweek. 11th place for Philippe Orts. 12th place, Ryan Camp. Locks comes in 13th. 14th is Verstringer. 15th place coming across the line now is Vincent Bastiens. Finishing now in 16th place for the Alpecin Fenix team is Jordi Michaels. Loris Aurelie of Alpecin Fenix coming round the corner to finish 17th. Let's hear now from Toenaerts.
Toon, je hoort diep ontgoocheld te zijn. Ik zie je lachen van blijdschap omwille van Pim Ronnaar, veronderstel ik.
Wel, ik was vandaag wel tevreden van de koers. Ik had geprobeerd om hem onder druk te zetten en zo overwinning te nemen. Het lukt niet meer door dat valpartijtje en dat is dan balen. Maar als je dan ziet dat zo'n jonge leeuw pas in de ploeg gekomen, super toffe gast hier als jonge gast op het podium kan eindigen, dan denk ik dat we met de ploeg super goed weekend achter terug hebben en echt op de goede weg zijn richting een mooie kerstperiode.
Ja, maar eigenlijk belangrijker, jouw wedstrijd. Het zag er zo lang zo goed uit en dan viel je.
Ja, ik heb echt geprobeerd mijn eigen tempo te rijden. Ik had een paar plekken waar ik dacht dat ik wel beter was. Het moment dat ik probeerde weg te geraken, de voorlaatste ronde, was bij mij al in. Dat was proberen het gat te maken, zo groot mogelijk in één keer. Maar toen kwam de valpartij en handen vol modder en zo en moest ik er even terug in komen. Ik kwam nog vrij dicht op Eli, maar het was niet meer mogelijk. Ik denk om hem terug te grijpen. Ik denk dat de krachten van gisteren ook een beetje kwijt waren.
Ja. Aan die val van jou was ook al een klein reukje. Hè? We zagen jouw voet daar een beetje toch in de weg van Eli Iserbyt.
Ja, het was daar super glad, dus ik probeerde recht te kreffelen. En dan kwam daar een Formule 1 incident boven.
Nu, uiteindelijk in de laatste ronde is ook Eli Iserbyt nog in de fout gegaan. Had je daar zicht op?
Niet direct. Eigenlijk dacht ik dat toen ook wel de wedstrijd verloren was. En het zat er echt voor mezelf niet meer op om nog eens een extra keer in gang te trekken. Het was voor mezelf ook al concentreren om al die hellinkjes te goed boven te geraken. Dus ik denk dat we met z'n tweeën een mooie strijd geleverd hebben. En voor mezelf is het spijtig voor dat valpartijken. Maar zwart, tweede plaats is het. En dit is wel een parcours aan mijn licht. Dus hopelijk is het een blijver en dan kan ik hier misschien ooit komen winnen.
Ben je dit seizoen al dieper moeten gaan?
Niet vaak. Het was echt wel een heel lastige wedstrijd. Dus de eerste 40 minuten was echt tempo. Probeer het niet te laten stilvallen. Dat is denk ik wat mij het beste past. Het tempo zo hoog mogelijk en zo lang mogelijk doortrekken. Maar om weg te geraken was het echt wel diep gaan. En de strook achteraan die nog een beetje bergop gaat was super lastig vandaag.
Dankjewel.
Alsjeblieft.
Toenaerts reflecting on today's race. Mechanics cleaning the bikes, along with Heinrich Hausler cleaning his own bike there, getting all the mud off.
Génération de cyclo-crossmen, il est là, Lucas.
flirte avec le podium au championnat du monde où il a terminé à la 4e place.
We were treated to a fantastic race today.
Dans un instant, les lauréats vont être récompensés, mais Steve Chenel, comme nous, a dû, même s'il a souffert sur le vélo, se régaler de voir le match entre les coureurs que nous avions.
Well, as everyone gets ready for the podium presentation, let's take a look back at the highlights in a moment as more riders complete today's course. This is Stan Gaudry just finishing the race today, followed by Remy Landes. Here's the highlights of today's race. Very fast start. Tonet's right at the front, and he was always involved in the action, trying to push the pace on. Elizabeth knew that Tonet was the rider to follow today. And once these two riders were at the front, they never really looked back. They went shoulder to shoulder, pedal stroke for pedal stroke, tried to take each other's lines, trying to make sure that they dominated proceedings. The battle for third place always involved Pim Ronhaar. At times he was with Laurens Sweeck. He was also with Michael van Turnhout. Shoe change meant that Laurens Sweeck ended up a long way back. The tussle at the front started to be dominated by Tonets. He put Elizabeth into all sorts of trouble until this happened. Elizabeth capitalised on it and went away. Tonet's chasing hard. He just couldn't get close enough. He caused another little mistake on one of the corners. Elizabeth refused to let Tonets back in. But then this happened, and Elizabeth looked like his race was going to completely come unstuck. Sliding his way down that hill, but Tonets just didn't manage to close in. At the finish, it's a handful of wins in the World Cup for Elizabeth. He retains the lead. Second place goes to Tonets, who was very, very pleased indeed for his teammates, because Pim Ronhaar, he got third place. Cheered on Pim Ronhaar as he crossed the line for his first World Cup podium. Let's take a look at the results of the day. Elizabeth wins, Tonets in second, Pim Ronhaar in third. A great result for Tom Meason in 7th place. A newly inspired and remotivated rider making his way up the standings. Here's the standings after 8 rounds of racing. Elizabeth leads with a pretty huge advantage now, 79 points on Tonets. Lars van der Haar and Quinten Hermans didn't take to the start today, so they stay in 3rd and 4th place. The mechanics have cleaned the bikes, making their way back to the camper vans and the trucks. We wait for the podium presentation.
Bravo à tous les bénévoles, c'était une très belle journée de cyclo-cross, et je crois que les champions internationaux vont le rendre bien. Ils ont vécu une belle course pendant 1 heure pour vous. Merci.
We're just getting ready then for the podium presentation of this 8th round of racing.
Féliciter de votre énergie et j'espère qu'on viendra en faire Pontoise rapidement. En tout cas, la fédération est fière de ce qu'a fait Pascal Orlandier et son équipe et ses bénévoles. Et merci à lui, merci à tous. Profitez bien du podium protocolaire avec les champions qui méritent également.
Je vois Nicolas que vous avez gardé la tâche.
Some riders, of course, who don't have the backup teams to help them out, who've just got to keep their bikes clean themselves. There they are in the jet wash. Let's hear now from Elizabeth.
Elisabeth, proficiat. Wat een wedstrijd, wat een thriller. Heb je dat ook zelf zo aangevoeld?
Ja, ik wist dat het op het einde een heel lastige wedstrijd was. Axel Toon een beetje zijn ding doen, omdat hij precies altijd tempo wou rijden. En, we hebben een andere tactiek van rijden, denk ik. Hij heeft meer één tempo, ik ben meer van de snokken. En toen dat hij zijn demarrage plaatste, moest ik even plooien. Maar ik nam nog redelijk veel risico om terug te komen. En dan maakte hij ook een foutje. En wist ik dat denk ik het beste bij hem er toch wel af was.
Dat foutje was ook een foutje met een geur aan. Toon hinderde je toch wel?
Ja, maar hij zag mij komen en hij smeet nog alles voor mij. Maar ik heb gewoon over zijn been gereden of zo. Dus hopelijk heeft hij daar geen last van. Maar het klopt wel wat hij zegt.
Nu, daarna, het bleef spannend. Toon Aerts kwam terug dichter bij jou. Maar dan maakte hij weer een foutje. En dan maakte jij ook weer een fout. Ben je dan in paniek geschoten?
Ja, toen ik terug naar beneden schoof, was ik toch even niet zeker. Ook zeker omdat ik niet wist hoe ver dat hij zat. Maar ik had precies nog een heel mooie voorsprong. En ik wist dan toen ik boven was dat het bijna binnen was.
Als ik je nu zo bezig hoor, het lijkt alsof het een formaliteit was wat je vandaag gedaan hebt. Maar eigenlijk, wanneer we naar die wedstrijd keken, zagen we Toon Aerts je gewoon afmatten constant. Maar jij bleef ook op dat moment kalm?
Ja, ik weet, als hij er mij niet afrijdt, dan wordt hij nerveus. En Richard riep dat ook. En ik denk ook dat hij een hele goede dag had, want hij kraakte niet echt. Meestal als hij echt heel snel of heel hoog tempo rijdt, kraakt hij op het einde. Maar nu was het toch hard tegen hard. En ik vond dat ik ook wel een heel goede dag heb. Dus ik denk dat we wel snel gereden hebben.
Het was propaganda voor de sport, hè?
Ja, absoluut. En ook het publiek was fenomenaal. Dus het is echt heel fijn om hier in Frankrijk te zijn.
Dank je. Tot volgende week.
Ja, dank u.
We gaan in Engels nog. Elisabeth, it was really a thriller today. How did you do it?
Yeah, I found the good legs today. I think Toon did as well. The crowd was amazing and the race was very, very hard. And I just tried to follow and maybe get a gap in the last 2 laps. But after the mistake of Toon, I know I just had to ride my own pace and that was enough for the win today.
You are so calm. It was so easy as that?
Yeah, you have to stay calm, especially with this kind of track, especially with the crowd. When you are too excited, you start to make mistakes. And I made some mistakes, and in the last few sections, a little too big mistake. But yeah, I'm happy with the win, and you just have to stay calm the entire race and just make your own tactics and stick to it.
When Toon Aerts crashed, he made a move that was not so really correct. In soccer, they would give him a red card.
Maybe it was with a stretched leg, but yeah, I saw him getting a little, but it was I think a very difficult section of the race, and maybe he was sliding a lot, so I don't think it was intentional. I hope not so, but yeah, I just knew that I had to get before him when he crashed, so that was important.
Thanks, congrats.
Thank you.
Elizabeth being asked about the outstretched leg of Toon Aerts. I don't think there was anything Toon could really do. He was just trying to get himself back on his feet. In a few moments, the podium presentation here in Besançon, a very thrilling day of racing.
Pim Ronnaar,
Yes,
dit is
Pim Ronnaar,
meer dan
though.
een verrassing, hè?
Ja, dat kun je wel zeggen. Ja, gisteren gewonnen natuurlijk bij de belofte en ik voelde me echt heel sterk. Maar ik had niet verwacht dat ik vandaag podium kreeg. Dat is echt iets ongelooflijks. Paul zei me een maand geleden dat ik dit seizoen nog ooit een keer podium ging rijden bij de elite. En we hadden een beetje het doel van, ja, dat zal wel een iets kleiner crossje zijn. Maar als dat dan een wereldbeker is, dat is echt super gaaf.
Ja, dus een wedstrijd zoals vandaag, dat is iets voor de ervaren, oudere mannen. Maar jij bent 20.
Ja, klopt. Maar het is wel een cross voor jongens met een grote motor. En ik denk dat ik wel een redelijk grote motor heb. Ik hou van stompen. Ik kan lang één stevig tempo rijden. En dat laat vandaag wel zien dat ik... daardoor ben ik vandaag derde geworden, denk ik.
Je laat ook wel zien dat je alles kan. Hè? Je werd wereldkampioen bij de beloften dit jaar in het zand. Nu doe je het hier in de blubber.
Ja, ik hou gewoon van cross-specifieke parcours. Of zandcross of een moddercross of een klimcross. Dat soort dingen, dat ligt mij heel erg. En vandaag was een moddercross. En staat ook nog redelijk wat hoogtemeters in, dus het was echt een mooi rondje vandaag.
Waar eindigt dit of waar mag het voor jou eindigen dit seizoen nog?
Goh, dit seizoen nog, ja, het wereldkampioenschap is natuurlijk een groot doel, maar het is niet zo dat ik nu derde ben bij de elite, dat ik ook wereldkampioen ga worden. Dat is weer een andere dag en vandaag was mijn vorm gewoon supergoed en ik hoop dat ik dit seizoen gewoon mijn vorm nu kan doortrekken. En dan zullen we wel zien wat het gaat brengen dit seizoen.
Ja. Je was daar in duel met Michael van Toornhout, een ex-ploegmaat van jou. Heeft dat ergens meegespeeld? Dat je elkaar ook goed kent, dat je weet hoe je elkaar moet afmaken?
Gewoon, ja, ik ken Michael natuurlijk wel, maar ik heb vorig seizoen of dat seizoen daarvoor dat ik bij hem in de ploeg reed, nooit bij hem in de buurt gereden. Dus het was de eerste keer dat ik met Michael een soort van duel heb gereden. En ik wist niet goed wat ik moest doen de laatste ronde of wachten tot de laatste halve ronde. Maar ik heb gewoon hier aan de finish direct gas gegeven en een heel ronde een hoog tempo gereden. En hij zat de hele tijd op 10, 20 meter en hij heeft het gelukkig niet dichtgekregen.
We staan in grote bewondering. Dankjewel.
Dankjewel.
Ja? Ja. Zeker? Ja? Oké. Dan nog kort in het Engels. Ja. Pim Ronnaar, it's a big surprise for us, but also for you.
Yeah, it's of course a big surprise. I didn't expect to be third today. Yesterday I had a strong race in Koksijde with the under-23 with a win. But podium spot today it's unbelievable.
Yeah, we know you as world champion. You became world champion in descent. Now it's in the mud. You are able to win in all circumstances?
Yeah, I like specific cyclo-cross races in the sand, in the mud, climb races. So that's the thing that suits me. And today was a muddy race and a climb race. So two things. It's incredible.
Thank you. Congrats.
Okay, we gaan even naar het podium gaan.
Pim Ronnaar, we get to hear his thoughts on today's race. Fantastic performance by him in the field today. He's such a versatile bike rider. Daniel Monjas then introduces the podium presentation here in Besançon. Big crowd, as Elizabeth said. It's quite easy to get carried away with such an enthusiastic crowd who've come here to celebrate cyclocross. There is Daniel Monjas in the background. We're ready then for the podium presentation of the 8th round of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup.
Nous allons donc dans un instant commencer la cérémonie protocolaire.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention please for the official award ceremony after round 8 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup season, round 8 today in Besançon, France.
Cérémonie protocolaire à la troisième.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's round of racing as the light falls here in Besançon. A good day for the Baloise Trek Lions. Pim Ronnaar takes his first podium finish in a round of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. The course suited him perfectly and he finishes in 3rd place.
À la 2e place, il aurait été l'un des grands animateurs, double vainqueur de la Coupe du Monde, médaillé au championnat du monde, 2e de l'épreuve, Toon Ars, Belgique.
Toonarts, 2nd place for him today.
After a splendid race in 2nd place, representing Belgium, a round of applause, a big round of applause please for Toon Ars.
Voilà, et à la première place de l'épreuve, il nous vient de Belgique, double champion du monde, champion d'Europe, vainqueur de l'épreuve, 5e victoire en Coupe du Monde.
Our winner today, winner in Waterloo, winner in Iowa, winner in Overijse, winner in Koksijde, and now winner in Besançon. Elizabeth.
Voilà, les partenaires vont les féliciter avec Sébastien et Denis Aliment, donc pour Big Mat International, Gilles Dacosta pour la région Bourgogne, Franche-Comté, Christine Bouquin, présidente du conseil départemental du Doubs, Abdel Ghezali, premier adjoint au sport de Besançon, François Raon pour le Crédit Agricole.
And the leader's jersey handed over now to Elizabeth again. He'll wear that in the next round in Antwerp.
Elizabeth vainqueur, Toonarts deuxième et puis Brunard troisième. Je crois qu'on peut lever les mains et s'applaudir plus fort encore. Et monsieur Abdel Ghazali, premier adjoint au sport de la ville de Besançon, va remettre le maillot de leader de la Coupe du Monde de cyclocross.
So Elizabeth pulls on the leader's jersey.
Victoire pour le double champion du monde.
He's dominated this series so far.
Superbe de bout en bout.
Pulled it on for the first time in Waterloo and the first race of the season where he beat Michael van Turnhout and Quinten Hermans. But as Wout van Aert said, this rider really has upped his game.
Mesdames et messieurs, votre attention pour saluer donc la victoire et la première place de Elise Herbit dans cette épreuve de Besançon, Club du Monde. Nous allons maintenant, ensemble, écouter l'hymne national de la Belgique.
And now for the national anthem. Podium of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup from Besançon, Pim Ronha, Tonerts and Elizabeth, today's winner.
Besançon accueillait donc la Coupe du Monde. On se souvient qu'ici, dans cette ville, ont eu lieu les championnats du monde sur piste. En 1980, aujourd'hui, c'était la Coupe du Monde.
Next weekend, things start to change as we bring back Wout van Aert and Tom Pidcock. Let's see what they think of Elizabeth's form once they go head-to-head with him in the next races. Thanks very much for joining us here in Besançon. We'll be back for Antwerp. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Mondial. Le coureur dans une course qui aura été intense jusqu'au bout. Merci à Nico de Menteur qui nous a accompagnés tout au long de la journée. Merci également à Paul Petit.